And then I would start to spiral and emit an anxious energy. He would become more avoidant. And then that would be the breakdown of the relationship. And then I'd be like, he's not texting me. He's not calling me. I'd start to tell myself the story of I'm unlovable. Here we go again. And then history would repeat itself. But in that moment, I was like, I'm just going to try something. I'm just going to try and be authentic, because not that I don't care about him, but like, it's not about him. Like, who cares? Like, he might stay, he might go. I don't know. But like, I'm just going to be me. And I'm just going to say, hey, I had this crazy thought.
Hmm. You said that? Is
I
that
did.
how it went?
I
Okay,
did. I was
okay.
like, hey, I had this crazy thought that you might have met somebody last night, and I know it sounds crazy. I have no evidence of this, but I just want to bring it up to the surface and talk about it. And he like sat me down. He was like, are you serious? Like, I am so into you. He was like, I'm so grateful that you brought this up to me. Like, what can I do to make you feel more safe when we're not together?
Wow.
And it was the biggest healing moment for me, because I was like, whoa.
Welcome to the Uplift Her Leadership Series, a segment on the Self Care Goddess podcast, a special space where holistic self care meets high performance and the feminine leads with grace, power, and purpose. This podcast is your pause in a productivity driven world, a space to reset, regulate, and reconnect with feminine wisdom and visionary leadership. I'm your host, Rita Savoya, holistic nutritionist, trauma informed breathwork coach, and founder of Breathwork Barista. Each week, you'll hear soul expanding stories and thought provoking conversations with women leaders, founders, and change makers who are redefining success and what it means to lead with heart. These are the conversations we need to create the future we desire, rooted in self-care, integrity, and soul-aligned leadership. Breathe in your power, breathe out the overwhelm, and let's begin. Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Self Care Goddess podcast with today's special segment series, Uplift Her Leadership Series, where incredible women tell their story and share their journey to inspire and motivate the next generation of women leaders. So super excited to have her back, actually, Jiordana. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
But as you know, on this podcast, we're going to walk the talk and just get into heart and mind coherence, even body, actually, by maybe perhaps if you feel comfortable to, and as well you can, you're not driving, you can lower your gaze or even close your eyes for just a couple of moments here to just really tune out what's going on around us, what's going to happen after this, before, what happened before. Just really tune that out and tune in. So allowing your breaths to flow in through the nose and then let it go with a sigh through the mouth. So we're breathing a little more intentional here, a little slower than usual, engaging that diaphragmatic breath. So we're breathing a little deeper. So allowing the belly to expand on the inhales and then contracting on the exhales. Beautiful. A couple of these at your own pace, just really tuning in to maybe parts of your body that might be feeling some tension, some stiffness, some discomfort. Let's breathe into those areas. So allow the exhales to soften, to relax, to release any of that tension. Lots of us have tension in our shoulders, so perhaps directing those extended exhales to help you open up. I now invite you to breathe into the area of the heart. So allow the inhales and exhales to flow in and out of this beautiful organ that's keeping you alive without even noticing. Where attention goes, energy flows. So let's energize this beautiful organ. And in this space of immense gratitude for this organ, I invite you now to visualize someone that you're grateful for today, living or past. Visualize them as if they were right here in front of you, and I invite you to send them all the love, the gratitude, and the appreciation for being in your life when you needed them the most, the good times, the not so great times. They were always there. Just send them the love and gratitude and appreciation that they deserve. And now on your next inhale, I invite you to turn that love, that gratitude and appreciation towards yourself for being here, doing the work, just taking a few moments of self-care and self-love and just listening to this podcast, taking time out for you. On your next inhale, flutter your eyes open and come back to us. Thank you for participating in that quick coherence technique from the Heart Math Institute. So today's guest, she is back with both science and soul to the world of wellness. Jiordana is a clinical nutritionist and hypnotherapist with a degree in behavioral psychology. She's on a mission to help people heal their relationship with food from the inside out. In her vibrant practice, she bridges mental health and nutrition, helping clients rewire their brains so that health, balance, and even weight loss becomes effortless without ever having to give up their favorite foods. That sounds awesome. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Jiordana is a 3/6 projector and 8th house Virgo sun. In her words, a psychic witch, here to help the collective see what they can see in themselves. That's the kind of intuitive, soulful energy she brings into everything she does. Her guilty pleasure, a classic McDonald's $1. Are they still $1? Wow, okay. Vanilla ice cream cone, proof that joy and wellness can absolutely coexist. And if her life had a soundtrack, it would be anything by Florence and the Machine. Woo woo, I love them too. Because the transformation, after all, is equal parts wild, powerful, and beautifully human. Let's welcome the radiant and beautiful and insightful Jiordana. How are you?
Oh my
Welcome
God,
back.
Rita, that was like one of the best introductions I've ever had. I was answering those questions and the way that you just communicated that. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm very excited.
Yes, me too. So you did, for those of you that did not catch Jiordana on the Self Care Goddess podcast years ago, we talked a lot about so many beautiful things, and you had our members so many incredible practical tools and tips on the broccoli test. I still remember that, like, how do you know if you're really, really hungry? Well, would you want to eat broccoli now? And if the answer is no, then you're not actually hungry. So I still remember that like so vividly. So you're just so full of knowledge, and the way you articulate things is just so beautiful. I love watching you on the social media and YouTube. So tell us what's happened since then, a little bit more in terms of what's influenced. You've done so much. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that as well. And like, what are you up to these days?
Oh my gosh, you're catching me at a really interesting time. I feel like I'm hopefully at the end of quite a transition, both in business and personal life. And I'm so excited to be here because I think that when we talk about women of influence and women leaders, if you were to interview me even a year ago, it would have been a very, I want to say, like, textbook kind of story. You go to school, you get the degrees, you build the business, you have the aha moments, you build the practice, you help lots of women, and then you become this like woman of influence and you share your story. But I think that some of the messier parts of entrepreneurship and just even life, like, kind of get overlooked a little bit. And I mean, you're literally catching me in the depths of that. So I think just to answer your question, my journey, and if you want to know my whole story, I'm sure you can listen to the first podcast, but I basically became very interested in food psychology because of my own healing journey that I had to go through. I had every eating disorder under the sun, substance abuse. I was obese as a child. And that kind of pushed me to want to learn more about self-sabotage and the human body and food addiction and addiction in general. And so once I accumulated the degrees and really healed myself from myself, if you will, I built this beautiful business off of it and, worked with so many women and did a TED talk on the topic. And
Mm.
it was like, my business was interviewed at the neuroscience conference in Paris. And, I was speaking in front of all of these like doctors and these people of high influence and profile. And I'm just there as a nutritionist, who came up with a theory that happened to work. And in my personal life, when I was 23, I was pregnant and I had my beautiful son, which changed my life. And then I had been with the same person for about 11 years until I really realized it wasn't working anymore. And so within the past year and a half, 2 years now, I'm now divorced, a single mom. I went from living in like a mansion downtown Oakville, which is a huge flex, to moving back in with my parents and my two kids. And so much of my business in the sense of, like you said, the practical tools, the neuroscience, the things that you learn in the textbook, it just wasn't resonating with me anymore. It's not that it's incorrect. Like all of that stuff works, and there's still so many women that need those practical tools, but I had kind of evolved out of it and into something just a lot more deeper. And so, I went through what we like to call, I guess, the dark night of the soul, where everything I had known, everything I had built just kind of had this tower moment and broke down. Like my marriage, my income, my business, like like you said, I'm a projector. So the way that I sell is through like my own magnetism. It's my own light. And if I'm not feeling it, like to talk about weight loss, like people aren't going to be receiving it. I'm not going to be attracting the right clients. And so nothing I was doing was working. And I basically burnt the whole thing down and started to do a lot of my own inner work energetically, spiritually. And it really took me on quite a beautiful spiritual journey. And now so much of my practice, I work primarily with women, is whether it's a food addiction or another substance abuse or just like patterns of living in scarcity, or, you want to manifest love, but you keep attracting the same toxic partners. I started to realize that, rather than approaching this from like a psychological or textbook perspective, we need to look at the whole individual. And there's so much that we aren't seeing. And as I went through the spiritual journey, I really opened up my own gifts. And now my practice is completely different because the way that I work with clients is of course, even before, the overeating or the weight gain or the toxic relationships or the lack of money, like those are all just symptoms of the root of what's really going on. And so I guess I could tell you that it's really hard to explain what I do now, but if we were to kind of put it in and tie it up with a nice little bow, it's really being able to see an individual in their wholeness and help them come back to like their most magnetic, true, highest self.
That's beautiful. No, I get you. I get you for sure because it is so intricate. It's not black and white. It's not easy as well because we, as human beings, we're just layers and layers and layers of just complexity, right? And then obviously even the socialization and the upbringing and all of the stuff that we've been socialized with just kind of covers who we truly are deep inside. So I get you because I see that through my breathwork experiences when people share their stories, and it's just like, whoa, like 90 minutes of breathwork allowed you to have this experience. Like that is so incredible. That is so deep. Once we give the space, right? We give ourselves that space and time and to actually go deep, right? And really reconnect with ourselves. So it is pretty interesting, but just in terms of your own was it what like for even just the realization that your relationship was not working? Did that come first, or was it the spiritual awakening, or like what was it that really triggered that internal sort of wake up call, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, so I think that I, like many high functioning type A women, I'm really good at escaping the reality of the situation. Like I met this man when I was 21. Like I have changed so much since then.
Yeah.
And I do believe like one of the biggest things that I work on right now is I work with couples in relationships, and I've done a lot of healing in myself on like, masculine and feminine balance. And because this is certainly not to like put my ex-husband down. It's not his fault. Like, we both created this really unhealthy dynamic. And the funny thing is, we never fought at all. It wasn't like unhealthy on the surface. On the surface, it was like being with my brother. Like, we were very functional, but there was zero intimacy. I had no desire to, like, actually want to be in the relationship. There was no trust that we had built. So I had, gone to school, had 2 babies, built the business, like hit 7 figures. Like, I was just like going bigger and bigger and bigger. And he, never could keep a job and could never, and that wasn't because he's incapable. A lot of that came from my lack of being able to trust a man to actually lead and take action, and me kind of taking that power away from him. And of course that stems from my own childhood with my dad, and this like these corporate pants that I put on, me not trusting the masculine energy. Like, I have to always take action. And anyway, so like 11 years later, I had started working with this, she was an energetic healer, and we never really talked about my relationship in general. But I think as I started to kind of have my own spiritual breakthroughs, I started to really recognize the misalignment that was happening within my marriage and my household. And I can't tell you how many times throughout the 11 years I thought, is this the right person for me? Like, I don't know how vulgar I can be on this podcast, but like, I am like a very sensual being, and I always have been. And for me not to want to engage in intimacy with my partner for many, many years, like that, I always blamed my hormones or my stress, but really it was a lack of connection and intimacy and trust within the relationship. And so I started to be like, oh my gosh, like, this actually isn't going to change. And making the decision to leave the marriage was so difficult, because
Of course.
it was like, it's not just me and him, like, it was our 2 kids. My daughter's 3 now, my son is 9. But my master of escapism, if you will, I think I spent a lot of time in that marriage escaping how unhappy I was. Like, anytime I had a moment to kind of sit and think about it, oh, I'll get another degree. Oh, let's move into a bigger house. Let's have another baby. Let's get a dog now. And like, you just kind of like escape the truth. You trying to find happiness and like, what's next, but if you continue doing that, you never actually feel the satisfaction or pleasure of like living in the moment. And when I had a second to kind of come down to that place of like, whoa, actually a dog isn't going to solve this problem, another baby's certainly not, more expenses make it worse. And so I think that ultimately, that was kind of where the breakdown started to happen. But it really forced me to recognize what my role was in that marriage not working. Because for the longest time, it was very like, I'm doing all the work, I'm bringing in the money, like, I can't be the man and the woman. And there was a lot of blame that I put on him, which is unfair. I 100% played a role in that dynamic. So.
And I love that, because the masculine energy, when I was going through these interviews, like pre sort of interviews with these women for this podcast, it was not something that I was actually thinking of talking about on this podcast. But now you brought it up even before me getting to the question, because when I lived in Dubai and I had my own consultancy there, I was totally working from so much of my masculine side, so much so that I started getting a lot of aches and pains by overdoing the masculine side. So it was just so crazy how it manifests, of course, in your body, right? And it wasn't until I came back home. So I left Dubai. I came back to help my mom with her health, and I was more nurturing. And I was just like, I feel so much better. I feel so serene. I don't feel angry. Okay, I did a few other things, right? I stopped eating meat. I did a couple of other things that I think helped me as well. But like, it was just so beautiful to be in the feminine, right? To be in that feminine energy. And we need both, obviously, right? We can't always be in one or the other, but just embracing both sides and being able to come to the feminine and be more nurturing, and not having to like do and go and implement and be so hard on myself too. Like, in terms of what you're doing now, is that what happened with you? You were sort of realizing that I can't be operating from this masculine energy all the time?
Yeah, I think when we talk about like manifestation, for example, I'm not sure how much you've talked about that on your podcast, but a lot of the way that I like hit these ridiculous, like got these, the TED Talk, and hit like crazy numbers in my business that I had never seen before. Like, I grew up in a very like very humble family, if you will, like a paycheck to paycheck kind of thing. I'd never seen that kind of money in my life. And And a lot of it happened through this manifestation process, right? And so you're learning about manifestation. You're like, okay, simply because I want it means it's mine and you live in the end. But when you go a little bit deeper into manifestations that aren't necessarily coming through, you have to learn about the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And like you said, in all of us, we all have our own inner feminine and our own inner masculine, right? And so the feminine's role, and I want you to think about it like you're walking in a forest. Like the feminine holds the compass and the masculine has the machete, right? So the feminine is kind of directing the energy where to go, and the masculine's like, okay, I'm going to take action on that. And when the two can work together, like literally within you, you get to your end destination with ease. But if you have a wounded feminine, it doesn't know what direction to go. The masculine doesn't know where to take action. And if you have a wounded masculine, he's like bushwhacking all through the forest, and he's overexerting himself. And so when you were talking about your experience in Dubai, it sounds like you were kind of in that wounded masculine energy where it's like, I'm overrun. I'm not like taking time to actually sit and receive and let things come to me. I'm constantly taking action. And I think, I work primarily with women, but if you're born women, then being in the feminine, the majority of the time is where you're going to feel most magical, abundant, magnetic. And I had, of course, in my marriage, like the masculine and the feminine was so imbalanced. I was doing all of the man's role and the woman's role, because then I couldn't receive nurturing from my partner because I didn't trust him and I was angry and there was resentment that was built. And so once that marriage had ended, I really had to kind of tune in and wonder and, work on my own balance of masculine and feminine energy to see, can I actually trust that I don't have to work so hard? Can I trust that the right opportunities will come to me without me having to prove myself or beg? Or it's not like you do nothing, you sit on your couch and wait, but it's that balance of like, I have a desire, and that desire is to whatever it is, make a certain amount of money, find love, do a TED Talk, whatever it is. And then your own inner masculine like brings the opportunity to you and pours back into the feminine. And when I started to work on this process within myself, also prior to my marriage, like all of my my dating history is a disaster. And then when I got divorced and I started dating again in this like era of dating apps, and
I know.
it was literally like every issue I've ever had just hit me like smack dab in the face. And it was very obvious that there was a lack of self-love, self-trust, a lack of ability to be in my feminine and know that I'm safe and loved and nurtured and taken care of. And so now when I in my own relationship, which I'm very, very grateful for, because this is probably the first healthy relationship I've ever been in, and when I work with couples and even just people on an individual basis, I find that really balancing that masculine and feminine energy between yourself and the other person, and then also within yourself, tends to be the most effective way, I'll say, to like build a life that you desire.
Because it is a natural way. So how can we do that? What are some things we can do? Or is it different for everyone? Or do you have to get to the root cause first, fix that, and then be able to work on balancing that? What is your opinion on this?
It's a really good question. I don't think there's like a single root cause. I think there's patterns that people have. Like we talk, I'm somebody who has anxious attachment, or definitely resonates more with, especially in dating. And so I would tend to attract, of course, the avoidant attached people. And that's a really common combination, because the more anxious a person gets, the more avoidant another person becomes. And so really it's then, okay, how can I learn to feel safe without having the validation, the recognition? But I would say that to pinpoint in yourself, and you can work with somebody, or you can just like start to notice these patterns and bring them up to the surface within yourself, is it really when you have individuals in your life, especially in a partnership, like if a romantic relationship, that person is literally your mirror. And so when you get triggered by something, like that's always your invitation to go, okay, why does this bother me? Like what is it about this situation that lives inside of me that makes me feel like unsafe, unheard, unlovable, whatever it is? And when you start to lean into, okay, well, is that actually true? Can I trust that? I'll give you a good example. my boyfriend now, and I also believe that when you are dating or you're in a romantic relationship, it is the best opportunity to actually heal the masculine and the feminine for both people. Like the relationship should be kind of like the catalyst of healing for both of you. And when you both can kind of get it right, it just turns into the most beautiful thing. But he is typically avoidant. I am typically anxious. And I'm also a Virgo and overthinker. And so very early days when we started dating, he had gone out to a party. And I was really anxious that he had met somebody, I don't know, other than me. He was a little bit dry, like short with me the next day. When I saw him, the typical anxious tendency would be the anxious attachment tendency would be to hide the feelings, because if I express myself, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be seen as crazy. I'm going to be like, it's not safe to actually express how I'm unsafe right now, right? So you push those feelings down, but then you start to emit an energy that feels inauthentic, right?
Mm.
I think when we're working with partnerships, whether it's a romantic relationship or even just in friendships or women you meet, the way that we change ourselves to keep the attachment of the other person or to manipulate the perspective of them is always where the imbalance starts. And so typically what I see in my practice and with me is I would push that down. I'd be like, this is crazy. Like, you have no evidence of this. And then I would start to spiral and emit an anxious energy. He would become more avoidant. And then that would be the breakdown of the relationship. And then I'd be like, he's not texting me. He's not calling me. I'd start to tell myself the story of I'm unlovable. Here we go again. And then history would repeat itself. But in that moment, I was like, I'm just going to try something. I'm just going to try and be authentic, because not that I don't care about him, but like, it's not about him. Like, who cares? Like, he might stay, he might go. I don't know. But like, I'm just going to be me. And I'm just going to say, hey, I had this crazy thought.
You said that? Is
I
that
did.
how it went? Okay,
I was
okay.
like, hey, I had this crazy thought that you might have met somebody last night, and I know it sounds crazy. I have no evidence of this, but I just want to bring it up to the surface and talk about it. And he like sat me down. He was like, are you serious? Like, I am so into you. He was like, I'm so grateful that you brought this up to me. Like, what can I do to make you feel more safe when we're not together?
Wow.
And it was the biggest healing moment for me, because I was like, whoa,
That's so beautiful,
you know?
right?
I can be
Mm-hmm.
in my feminine and feel safe enough to express my emotions, and it will be received by the masculine.
Mm. Right, right. So let me ask you this. What if he reacted with, you're crazy? Like, what are you doing? Like, just totally outbursts. And it was obviously a turn off. I know what you would do, but like, what would that mean that he's not healing his masculine?
Yeah, I really believe that the people that you manifest into your life, again,
Mm.
are a mirror. And so if you're approaching a relationship or a friendship or anything with the intention of, I want to continue to evolve and heal, then you're either going to be met with somebody who is also in a similar position, or you're going to be met with, again, that mirror, that pushback, right? And so I think the way that I approach the conversation is how why he reacted that way. Because if I had interrogated, or if I had pushed it down and then became resentful, or
Mm.
had approached it from a perspective of like, this is how I'm feeling and I'm really scared about it, rather than, this might be a crazy thought, like, can we just have a conversation about this? Like, I took the emotion kind of out of it and I brought it down to a neutral place, which then prevented him from becoming defensive. But had he become defensive, and then I would have known, like, he's actually probably not a catalyst for me to heal at this point,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a godsend, right? Which is
Totally.
awesome,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's better to know now than in years from now when you've invested so much more of your time. So it's about like trusting that intuitive feeling, like you had, a fair, right, intuitive feeling, and you bring it up, being super like authentic that you want to express this and not hold it in, because then you're going to just blow up and resent him at any point. You're like a ticking time bomb, because I've done that, right?
Mm.
And then just seeing the reaction of both of you, and how he took it and how you're feeling after what he said as well. Because I mean, that is the sweetest thing you could have heard him say, right? It's such a beautiful reply.
Yeah, it was super healing for me, and I think also for him.
Mm.
But the typical like feminine, as women, we are meant to be emotionally volatile. Like we genuinely are. Our emotions are all over the place. We have hormones
Mm.
that men don't have. We have cycle, like to say that we are supposed to like repress our emotional state is often where we fall into that wounded feminine and masculine energy. And I have met so many incredible women leaders, like big CEO, and there is oftentimes, I'll generalize, a repression of their true emotions because they're like, I can't cry over this thing. I
Yeah.
gotta get to work. I gotta make this work for X, Y, and Z. And so when we as women, I believe, can approach and communicate our emotional states, even if they are totally wild, and know that they're going to be held and it's safe to do that, it creates this beautiful, safe container for us to like experience our creativity and our emotions in a very fluid way, which is where the feminine power actually is. Like we are meant to be like intuitive
Right.
manifestors.
And thrive, right? And so do you, in your opinion, do you feel that, let's say even your daughter, like she'll have an easier time to embrace her feminine energy given what's going on in the world and where we're sort of headed, or it's gonna take some time? I mean, honestly, I think I found out like it's only been 50 years in North America that we can actually go ask for a mortgage without like a man signing. Like, yeah, 2025 marks 50 years. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's like 1950s. That's crazy, like in terms of like, I mean, we've come far, but not that far. But yeah, I'm just curious to see like what you're thinking in terms of your daughter's future. Do you think it'll be easier for her to embrace feminine energy?
I feel grateful that I've gone through this journey while she's still young because
Mm,
I think that ultimately I will be a bit of that model for her.
hmm.
Whereas my son, who's 9, my God, we totally shit the bed on that one. Like he's going to need therapy for sure, and that's it is what it is. But you know, I think that the women's ability to be independent right now is one of the most beautiful things. And this isn't me at all saying that we need to go back to traditional roles. Where I invite you to kind of look deeper is as you're kind of as we as women are entering this like more corporate setting and the ability to get a mortgage and vote and like all these things that are wonderful and create independence for us, are we doing it kind of dragging ourselves up the hill kicking and screaming with like pressure and proving energy, or
Hmm.
are we actually doing it in a way where it feels like it's easeful, where it feels like we receive opportunities simply because we are, not because we have to push for it. And that's when you
Mm.
get to look at your own kind of inner feminine and masculine balance.
I love that because I remember even in our first podcast, you were saying you actually quoted this too, that women have two jobs essentially, one at corporate, their corporate job, and then they come home and they have to do all those duties. So, yes, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, drastically as much as we would. But yeah, because I get this a lot because people are like, Rita, you seem, you want women rights, this and that, but you're still very feminine in that traditional role. And I'm like, because it feels good. And it took me a while, like I mentioned, right, to actually embrace this even more because I was like, no, I can do this on my own. I can. And I'm like, no, like even physical stuff, we're like just physically not built the same. Like, yeah, you should be handling this because I like you're bigger than me, you're stronger than me, right? To my partner and stuff. And now I'm embracing it more. It's like, yes, so how do you handle this if somebody asks you this? Because obviously you're independent, you've built this amazing business, you continue to do so much, but you still want to be in your feminine. So how do you explain that to people?
Yeah. So honestly, like I said, I work with a lot of couples
Mm-hmm.
who are married or dating or whatever, and I see the same kind of things happen over and over again. But I believe any two people can repair a relationship and work together and make it more beautiful and evolve together and grow. I think if I knew what I knew now and I went back 10 years or 8 years maybe, my ex-husband and I probably would have worked out because like I would have known how to actually be in my feminine, let him take the lead, communicate in a proper way. So the key here is, and it's going to sound like women have to do the majority of the work, but, and I don't want this to sound like a hate on men, but men are kind of like lost boys in their lives. Like they are really good at taking action. They are really good at, getting the job, the career, all of the action part, but until they have a vessel like the woman, they don't really have direction, right? Like they don't have the compass. And so when I work with couples now, a lot of how I coach and how I run my own life is, we have to take the lead in certain areas, but we also have to like sit back and trust and allow the man to take the lead in other areas. Like we don't want to take that away from them.
Hmm.
We want to, I don't know if you watch Love is Blind, but I'm going to quote them right now. There's a woman who's just on it, and she is like a super high successful, like her whole story is being like a badass entrepreneur. And she was like, in the thing, they asked her why she was still single. And she said, well, I think men are intimidated by me. And it was so funny to me because I used to say this all the time, especially when I was like in early stages of dating. I'm like, oh, I just, they're intimidated by me. I make more money than them, or I have my life together and they're just intimidated. But it's actually not that they're intimidated at all. It's that they're not inspired. And
Hmm.
because men need to feel like they are protecting, providing. It doesn't matter if you're making more than your partner. What matters is, does he feel inspired to take action to create, make the life that you want come to life, like be a part of it, build with you. And so allowing a man to, giving him the space, which I think is the most important, giving him the space to actually come in and like take the lead and take action. That's how I continue to remain in my feminine. I don't know if I
Mm.
answered that question.
Yeah, no, 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 it's super valid. I completely see that happening because what I find as well, and I keep telling my friends this too, or just people in general, like when they're like, oh, I can't trust my husband to, I don't know, like clean the house or
Yes.
vacuum the house or,
Yes.
and I'm just like, let him do it
Mhm.
his way. Or else, like, like then you're putting him down. And of course, he's going to be discouraged and he's not going to do it next time at all. Right. So I
Yeah.
feel like, yes. And so is that like, the women like that are always in sort of that need for control and that's what we need to let go of.
I love that you gave this practical example because I'm literally gonna I can take any example you give me and flip it so that you can stay in your feminine and still get what you want, because it
Okay.
isn't a feminine, it isn't a masculine thing to vacuum the house like traditional roles, but that doesn't mean that he can't do those things for you, right? And so what I find is women get so resentful, and then they start to put their men down, right? And
Right.
the one thing that the man needs is respect and admiration. And as soon as you stop respecting or admiring your partner, like it's
Hmm.
over. Women need devotion and they need adoration. And so the way that I would approach that situation is I would say something like, babe, it makes me feel so supported when you help with the house stuff. How do you feel about that? And like kind of like it's really, it opens the conversation. Like rather than you never do this, you never do that, like that just breaks down a man's ego and makes him feel like you don't admire
Hmm.
him, like you don't respect him. But when you can say like, oh my gosh, it makes me feel so supported and loved, and when you do this thing, I really admire it that you pick up the vacuum. Not all men don't do that. That's amazing. You kind of encourage him to do it again. They're like little puppies.
I know.
You train them. You do. And,
Oh, that's so funny.
and then
So you say you call them lost boys, I call them broken boys. That's funny. We're not man bashing here at
at
all, but
all. I love men. I love them.
exactly. We
Yeah.
need them. We need them for sure. Yes. But yeah, I agree. So let go of control and approach it from just any way, even the way you would talk to a child, right? Like you wouldn't put your child down. Well, most of us wouldn't, right? We
Mhm.
kind of want to encourage them. And so again, your partner does not receive this properly, it's a sign, right? Because you're coming from, okay, let's do this the proper way, or not the proper way, a more amicable way, and he's like lashing out on you, then again, that's a sign, right? That maybe, yeah, something to consider, right?
I think because the dynamics of relationship get so solidified over time, like if you're in this situation, you're listening to this and you've been with your partner like 10 years and you both have a tendency to, nag each other or
Mm,
whatever, like it's not unfixable at all. It definitely helps when you do this from the beginning, but it really is about Because men need to feel needed. Like, if a man's purpose is to literally build the fucking structure of your life, and I mean that figuratively and literally. And so you have to kind of express to him, like, if he really loves you, then you saying something to him like, it makes me feel really loved and safe when you plan dinners. It makes me feel really adored when you do this.
Mm,
Like, a man who loves you is going to continue to want to take action on that, because that gives him purpose. And that's where his compass is. He goes, like, he's literally looking to you to give him direction. And when the
mm,
direction that you give him, you do it in a way where you're not doing it right. You never do this, you never do that. That doesn't give him direction at all. That actually just makes him feel like he just can't be
mm,
ready. Right. And so it's about kind of coming back to a place where recognizing that your man actually does want to pour into you. Like, you are his purpose. So, like, show him what that is and do it in a way that feels respectful.
right. Yeah, for sure. And just like talking to any human being, really, you wouldn't want to be talking to anyone like that, right? And you wouldn't want to embrace that energy. It's so heavy, that
Mhm.
energy of nagging. And like I'm sure you don't feel good after nagging either, right? It just takes away a lot from you. So I just want to sort of end this by maybe if you can just comment on, like, let's say a young woman, maybe in her, like, under 30 years old, right? Where she wants to obviously be her own independent self, wants a career and wants to do everything. Just to kind of like remind her that going into your feminine does not mean that you're taking, women back 50 years where they couldn't actually do anything, right? So just kind of reiterate this so that people get it.
Yeah. So I am obsessed with the fact that I'm a woman now. And
Mm,
I'm also obsessed with women. But we are very, very lucky because without women, we don't have men, first of all, right?
hmm.
So literally, like, being born a woman is like one of the biggest blessings. Like, you are literally meant to be protected and provided for always. And when you feel like you have full trust in the masculine energy within yourself, and I'm just going to say God, creator, universe, like, that's where, when you're not looking at a partner as a mirror, like, that's where the trust has to come in. I trust that if I have this great idea, like, what lights me up is teaching dance classes, right? And I want to make a living off of this. I want to make this into something big. I want to help women all over the world learn how to dance. Trusting that, like, God, universe, and that masculine energy is going to bring you those opportunities with ease, without you having to, like, push or cry. I mean, there might be crying involved, like, or prove yourself, or like overwork yourself, is where we find that kind of balance, right? So it's being able to go, this is what I want. I fully trust that, like, the universe, God, creator is going to support me. I know that because I feel safe, and no matter what happens. And when you have that common safety, you're actually able to be in a state of creative flow that allows you to take action on the right opportunities, or call in, maybe you're
Hmm.
for coffee and you're just journaling and you meet somebody and they own a dance studio, and it's like those type of serendipitous
Yeah.
opportunities that come to you, but they only come when you're in your feminine, you're able to actually receive them, not when you're pushing and taking action constantly.
Right, right. Because you're taking that step back, right? And you're being open to any of these signs or opportunities, right? You're actually being open to it. I love that. No, that's really cool. Well, I didn't know we were going to talk about
Me
this.
either.
Which is awesome because I'd love to also chat a little bit about manifesting. Because, yes, tell us a little more about that. And again, you need to be in that open, creative space and not be in the doing. Because if you think about it, you're right. Like society, modern society, it's about like, okay, your to-do list, like what else you got on there? Like, where are your goals? You put them together in like your business plan. And it's all that action, doing. So, when it comes to manifesting, what if you have, because I'm talking from a personal case now, what if you have two major things that you really want to work on and you're just like, do I go this way or do I go that way? Which one is it about? Like, how would you coach me on that?
I love this question because somebody really recently asked me, how do I know that I'm making the right choice? And I ultimately, first of all, I'll say you can't make the wrong choice. Like, you just can't. Like, if you go one way and it doesn't work out the way that you thought it would, it's because it's leading you to the right
Hmm.
choice, right? And so that's where, again, trusting in creator, universe, like all of that, masculine, feminine energy takes into account. But I would say, like, first of all, you know what the right choice is. So, like, women are very intuitive. And if you have no idea how to tap into your intuition, that is step number one, like learning what your inner voice actually sounds like. And it won't come out if you are constantly putting it down or telling it's not good enough, or like, doing things to please other people, or doing things because it's like the right way to do it. Like, that's where we fall too much into the masculine energy. But for you, I would say if you have these two options or two things that you want, like, which is the way to go? Which one, if you tap into your body, like, there's two ways to do this. So I would encourage you to take Rita's amazing coaching and take the breaths that you need to bring you back down to a place of coherence. But two ways that you're going to feel it's the right choice. In your body, when you imagine holding it in your hand or imagine experiencing it, you're going to feel expansion. You're going to feel like this, like it's this expansion energy, or you're going to feel really at peace. If you look at the two choices and you're like, should I do this or this? Play with those two choices in your body and see which one makes you feel more expansive. Like, it should feel expansive and kind of scare the shit out of you. And that's okay. It's not like, oh, it's because this one's easier than the other one. It's how does it actually feel cellularly in my body? And even if you go with the other one, it's still the right choice.
Right, because it'll eventually lead you to the right choice, like any decision. I do agree. I'm actually doing Gabby Bernstein's
Nice.
Trust the Universe
Yes.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all about trusting, unwavering trust and faith in the universe, God, source, whatever you believe in. And yeah, that's so hard. It really is to kind of trust. But then, yeah, just as every day, every morning the sun comes up, why not? Why not? Why can't this happen for me? Right.
Totally.
And just trusting it, trusting it. But what are your thoughts on when it's like really, really bad, like situation? Like, I'm talking, obviously a terminal illness. Like, how do you say that to someone? How, like, trust the universe. This is happening for your own good. Everything happens for your highest good. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I again love this question because I just, like, a couple months ago, worked through this. I'm Palestinian, not to get political on here at all. Like, I'm very not neutral, but I'm Palestinian, and my own mentor is like, why aren't you more political about this? Like, why isn't this,
Hmm.
for me, my space isn't about that, and that's that. But there is this kind of resistance into going into the sorrow that on either side, Palestinian or Israeli or anybody with like a terminal illness or something, when you look at the injustice of situations where
Hmm.
children are malnourished, they're dying from famine, they've lost both their parents, they've lost their legs in bombing. Like, you look at these situations and you're like, how can God actually exist?
Hmm.
What the fuck is going on? How can I sit here and be like, trust the universe because I want to get like another high ticket client when people are dying, like,
Mm.
who are completely fucking innocent, right? And I'm going to explain this in a very spiritual and woo way, but I believe that our souls are like very old. I believe that our souls continually choose the experience, whatever experience it is. And for your soul to come and choose the experience, the human experience on earth, you choose your parents, you choose your traumas, and then your blessing is being able to work through those things to find your wholeness again, right? And so the human experience, though, it requires a lot of suffering. Like, earth is, if we even look biblically, like, human beings are sinners, and there's a lot of suffering and things that are out of our control here. But once we ascend into that higher state, like, the suffering is actually gone. And so when we look at somebody who has lost their 3-year-old daughter to cancer, or we look at like somebody who is facing a terminal illness, it's really about like, not you're lucky, I don't want to say that, but kind of in a way like, wow, like your soul was like, I actually don't want the human experience for very long. And
Hmm.
then you kind of get to go on to the next thing. Personally, I don't think I'll be coming back to Earth. I'm like done here. My work is done once I'm done. But there's just so much out there that we don't know. And I
Yeah.
believe that if the soul has chosen a shorter experience on earth, though it might come with temporary suffering, like the actual suffering is taken away.
I like that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can resonate with that for sure. I always say I want to come back as a man and marry myself.
Wow.
But then we
Women's
have to
empowerment.
coexist.
I love that. Love it.
And then I'll definitely be very happy and harmonious and at peace. So I have to ask this question because we've been getting some incredible insights on this because burnout, it is definitely real. It's there, especially for high achieving, high performing women. Have you experienced it? I'm curious. And if so, what are some of the signs that we should be watching out for? Because yes, there's a textbook signs, but there's it's more real when it comes from you and what you've experienced personally.
Yeah, my first sign of burnout is I don't have a creative spark.
Mm.
It's like
Hmm.
the constantly all day long. I will like, you anyone, not just me, but you get these like creative nudges. I want to go for a walk. I want to journal about this. Ooh, what if I did a program like that? And when those creative sparks aren't coming to me, I'm like, I'm overworked in an area, or I'm stressing about an area that I don't need to be overthinking about. So that would probably be my first one,
Mm.
repression to my creative flow. Um, the obvious signs of burnout, like, you are sex libido goes down. Like that's another huge one that I see in women. Sleep is disturbed. You kind of have this like tired but wired energy where like all day long you're tired, but then you're wired so you can't really sleep very
Hmm.
well. But I think for women, truly the first sign would be you don't feel safe enough to be your like most wacky emotional, like to like feel the flow of your emotions and be in that state of creativity. I think that's, as soon as that feels repressed, you're already heading towards burnout.
Right, right. And yeah, a lot of women, I don't know in your practice, but I just feel like when you do get these signs, you're already there. So it's how do we prevent this? How do we, what's your number one tip on preventing
Balance
burnout?
your masculine and feminine energy.
Right? Going
That's
back full
number one.
circle.
Yeah, full circle. Because it like
It's always
as
about them. Mm.
totally. Women in general, especially if you follow human design projectors, mostly, we need a lot of rest. We need a lot of time to
Mm.
like be with ourselves, a lot more than generators or the masculine energy or whatever. But if you fully feel safe in every single moment, so that means like masculine energy is doing his job, your own masculine energy, God, creator, or a partner, if you fully feel safe, there's nothing you really need to do in this moment.
Mm, right.
Creating that, even if it's you're still working the same amount of hours, but throughout the day, instead of constantly overthinking about all the things you haven't done, how your body looks, like it's that mental chatter that I think
Yeah.
most women causes the burnout. So returning back to like, whoa, actually in this moment, I actually have everything that I need. Like I'm fully,
Hmm.
I don't know how it's going to unfold, but I just like know it will.
Mm, going back to the trust,
Yeah.
right? Like
Like,
trust that I'm okay to actually stop, pause, reset, like in terms of taking some time to do nothing, which our society does not like reward at all. Like it's all about doing, 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 right? Not being. I think we're getting a little better, but yeah, like even this whole like Christmas holidays coming up and stuff, like everyone is so busy, just super like crazy with stuff. It's just like chill out, people. Like
mm,
right with the holidays and everything else coming up. So I'm really hoping that more women just take a little bit more time for themselves and not have crazy to-do lists and crazy things to do. So tell us a little more how you balance all of what you do with your responsibilities, like professional and personal. And also, Jordana, is there such a thing as work-life balance? Because I've been getting some really, really awesome replies to this. What do you think about that?
I will say, yes, of course, there's such thing as work-life balance. I think just even looking at the term work, masculine, and life, feminine, like women give life balance, like when you balance your masculine and feminine, like there's work-life balance. This year alone, which not to give you too much insight into my business, but like there was a point about a year and a half ago where like I couldn't even put gas in my car. Like I went from a seven-figure earner to like, holy fuck, I can't pay any of my employees. I can't put gas in my car. Like just unbelievable scarcity. And yeah, there was a point in my business where I felt so lost that I didn't really know how to, like, what to do, because pushing wasn't working anymore. And so then I got to a place where I kind of had to lean back and then receive. I'm hoping if you're listening
Mm-hmm.
to this, you don't let it get to that point. But yes, I believe work-life balance exists. And just to teeter off why I told you that personal piece of vulnerable information, literally since my divorce, I've traveled more than I ever have in my whole life combined. I think this year alone, I've been on 10 trips. And like, I'm still like working, running a business, like rebuilding everything, paying for like I'm still the only provider for my children, and I'm having the time of my life. And that really goes back to not needing to do it all yourself. So if you look at your to-do list, and this is a trick I actually got from Manifestation Babe years ago. Instead of writing to do, she writes to manifest. So if to do looks like answer these emails, grab coffee, pick up the kids from school, create a new program, whatever it is, when you write to manifest and you have the full faith that like you're going to be supported, some of those things just might magically get taken off of your
Mm.
list, right? And so for me, how I kind of manage this work-life balance is really realizing I actually don't have to do it all myself. Like if the kids need to be picked up from school, obviously it's my responsibility, but like I have a lot of support and someone might be able to do that for me. Like I want to manifest opportunities that allow me to be in my feminine, where someone might bring me a coffee. Now I don't have to go and buy one. Like it's just, you let the universe kind of take the
Hmm.
and help you to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish without you having to do it all yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And it's also not knowing like how, if you're stuck on how to do something, it's who can help you, right? So there's this famous book, it's not how, it's who can help you actually.
Mhm.
So just kind of reaching out. And again, I think for women, we need to let go of that control that we need to do it. We need to learn how to do it. Like even for me, I'm like, oh, maybe I should take like a chat GPT course, or maybe I should do like this. And that's like, no, 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 just like hire someone to do this stuff for you, right? Or seek out someone that can help you do this for you. I don't need to know everything. I don't want to know like how I'm switching from like Kartra to go high level. I'm like, I don't need to know how that works. I'm just going to get somebody to do it for me. Right. So I think it's again, just letting go of that control. I love it how we're coming back to just trusting. Right. And it's part of that whole manifesting process. Maybe we should have you back and just talk about manifesting. I love this. But a little bit more about you, because this is just about your leadership journey as well, and just your journey in general. What are your top three self-care rituals that you do? And I know I've asked you this question in the first episode, but to help you stay grounded and just still at the same time energized.
Yeah. Meditation is a huge one for me. I was I was the first person to be like, I can't meditate. I can't quiet my mind. I get bored. I do specifically guided meditations, and they are like infused with energy work and stuff. So, and they follow the moon cycle. So it's very like
Mm-hmm.
all like tapping into that feminine alignment with Mother Earth and the moon. So meditation for sure. I realize when I fall out of that routine, everything else kind of falls apart. I do journal every single day. And then it really, for me, it is like practicing gratitude. Like there's some people manifest better when they're in service, and that's not a masculine thing. It's just some people manifest better when they're in service, and some people manifest better when they're in gratitude. But when I can, even if, I am unsure of how I'm going to pay this massive bill, I'm like, holy shit, I'm so grateful that I have gas in my car to drive my kids to school. Like, it's like just really tapping into that gratitude personally allows me to take care of myself a lot better, because I'm more in tune with myself. I'm not constantly overthinking or is in a state of scarcity, and then everything else kind of flows from there.
Beautiful. So, what's the difference in service and in gratitude? Can you define that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So there's two ways to like manifest or to receive, if you will. In some cultures, it's called tithe. So when you give, you receive, and we're not doing this like to receive, but a lot of people manifest better or get like receive better when they're in service. And that service can literally be holding a door open for somebody. It could be
Mm-hmm.
giving a homeless man $1. It can be like actually doing your job and coaching or whatever. Like it could be that service that makes you more magnetic to bring more opportunities, more abundance to you. And other people are more like gratitude based. So when I take stop the doing a lot and I really tune into like the micro gratitude, that's when I feel my field opening and I'm able to
Mm.
receive a lot better. And even one person can flip flop in what's more dominant or less dominant like throughout a day.
Okay, I love it. And when you journal, is there anything specific that you're journaling or just the things that you're grateful for?
Yeah, so I used to do this like method. It's in my mindful method, but I used to do, three things I'm grateful for, my I am affirmations, and then I
Mm.
would do like write a few sentences in past tense. Now my journals often sound a lot like it's a lot of scripting. So it's a lot of once I have everything I have, what does it feel like to wake up on that day and journal about it? So I will
Mm.
oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. I just got this acceptance to XYZ. I'm living in Florida with my kids. Like the sun is shining.
Mhm.
Like it's a lot of that like scripting just so I can continually wire my brain to like
Mhm.
it's happening right now.
Yes, yes, which I find a little difficult to do sometimes. I'm like, but look where I am. I'm not in Playa del Carmen, you know what I
Not
mean?
yet. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm in 3 foot of snow. But yes, yes, that is super powerful. And it's such a beautiful way to start. Do you do it in the morning or in the evening?
I always do it in the morning.
Yeah, so the meditation in the morning. Do you have a night routine? Do you have something that you do in the evening every day?
It depends on if I'm with the kids or with not. With the kids, not really. My routine is, well, when I put my daughter to sleep, she just recently started sleeping in her own bed, which is the biggest. I feel like I've gotten my life back.
Yeah.
When she's beside her, I'm beside her and she's falling asleep. I will often kind of do a little bit of a meditation. Like I will
Mm,
calm my body down. I'll feel what it feels like to have everything that I want and like the specific vision that I have. But if I'm not with the kids, then nighttime routine looks a lot like receiving love and intimacy from my partner, which I actually think is one of the most powerful ways that you can
mm.
engage in self care. Like, I think we all need that.
Yeah, so beautiful for sure. So, Jordana, if you had a full day to yourself, okay, this speaking of, yes, manifesting and imagining with no responsibilities, how
Mm.
would you spend it?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It depends on where I'm located, but I would wake up, I would drink a whole bunch of water, take my supplements, go to Pilates. Then I would come home, make a beautiful cup of coffee. And if I'm somewhere sunny or somewhere where the beach is, I would take all my journaling stuff and go to the water or the sun and, journal and pull my angel cards and meditate
Mm-hmm.
in the sun. Once that is done, go for a walk. Like I would get like a little bit more of that bipedal movement going as we are bipedal human beings. And then grab something where I could grab something fresh that I can like make a delicious, healthy lunch out of or whatever I'm feeling that day. Then I know you said no responsibilities, but like I absolutely love working. And so then I would do something creative for work. Like I would check in with my clients or I would like journal out another program that I'm thinking of or like how I can serve my community better, I think. I might record a podcast, which I've been really missing that I haven't been doing lately. Then at that point, I would connect with my partner, figure out dinner,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful dinner, have lots of sex, like, clean up the area and then go to bed. And I think it would be wonderful.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely. Definitely. That sounds like a beautiful day. I love it. So, what is one rule you've joyfully broken on your way to where you are now?
Oof. Oh, truly so many. Yeah. Um, you know, I gosh, if you're listening to this and like you need help with food addiction, food psychology, weight loss, please don't write me off because I genuinely like my programs are amazing. They've helped so many women, but I really don't care about health or nutrition at all anymore. I just don't. Like it's not that I don't want to be healthy or whatever, but I actually just have so much trust in my body just
Hmm.
wants that I don't care about eating healthy lunches really. I don't care about like is this going to make me like healthier or not? Like I just don't care. Like I just and so I think the rule that I've broken is being very focused on like living my healthiest, happiest life and just like literally not giving a fuck about it at all anymore. Like just living is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, but also it's because you're so grounded in that trust.
Yeah.
that, the choices that you make are going to be healthy for you today, even though maybe it is McDonald's ice cream cone, right? Like, so I think there's just so much trust, and like with trust is faith, with faith is like confidence, and like, yeah, that you're protected, you're okay, you're doing, but that takes a lot of work too, right? I don't think everybody's there. And maybe just kind of psychoanalyzing this too, I think you are able to be where you are because you had that experience beforehand.
Yeah, and I think that that's, the relationship to body and the relationship to food, which is the number one thing keeping us alive. Like when
Yeah.
there's like a confused, I'm going to use the word confused, not even wounded, a confusion around all of that. Like it's not about the food, it's not about your weight. It's about like actually
Mm-hmm.
the relationship to yourself and like to life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of my programs do. But like once you have that figured out and then you live that for like a decade, like it's like you just don't think about it anymore. Like I just don't.
Exactly. And as I said in the introduction, you make it effortless, right? And it just happens. It's just a lifestyle. It's just who you are. Yeah. And even with this whole like plant medicine healing, I just find that it's beautiful, but I find that a lot of people are being so addicted to it. At the end of the day, they're still, you're getting high. So they're addicted to the high. And like there is a point when you want to stop healing and you just kind of you want to live,
Yes.
So
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like that's very
I,
similar.
yeah. I
Uh-huh.
so agree.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what is one piece of advice you'd give to a high-performing woman about how to cultivate resilience? And you know a lot about that, especially during times of uncertainty or challenge.
Yeah. So I don't want to be super cliche, but I think it kind of comes back to that faith piece where
Mm-hmm.
reality is like, I mean, you just heard my story going from a seven-figure business to not being able to put gas in my cars, right? So, and like when you're in that place, you're like, what just like how the hell do I get through this? Like there are so many moments in entrepreneurship and leading in general where you actually just don't know what the answer is. And in those moments, rather than trying to solve the problem, how you're going to build resilience is knowing for sure, like this too shall pass. You have been through so much shit in your life up until this point,
Mm-hmm.
and you've always come out the other side. So it's like that's when it's time to take a step back and just kind of go, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, but I just know that it's going to be okay. And that type of like faith and like letting go actually allows it to you build the resilience, and like things aren't going to feel good all the time. Like if things feel good all the
Mm-hmm.
time, there's no change, there's no growth, there's no like it's when things
Mm-hmm.
are crappy but you still remain like so sure that you're going to be safe and okay. Like that's when you are actually building the resilience.
Yes, yes, I love that. Super inspiring. I love it, love it, love it. And thank you for sharing that piece of vulnerability for sure. And yes, we'll definitely have to have you back on and see how that went. How you came out the other side as well. So, what is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind to your daughter, your son, and the next generation of women leaders?
Wow.
Mm.
Such a funny question because said to my boyfriend, like, I'm going to leave a legacy. And he was like, nobody leaves a legacy. And it was like a soft point. And I was like so mad at him, so triggered, if you will. We dealt with it though in a very healthy way. But yeah, I, I think my mission now, it used to be about women's health and bringing us back into our bodies. But right now, I think my legacy and really what I want to imprint on all of you listening and my children and their children is that you genuinely are the creator of your life. Like you
Mm.
really do get to choose what you want, and the it might not look exactly like you want it, like it, and so but widening out, like thinking that you can't have the job that you want or the relationship that you want, or you're trying and it's not working. It's like, don't give your power away. I used to say this with food, but like the pizza doesn't have power over you. Like you are the only one who is emitting an energetic force, and so like take your power back and know how powerful you are, and own that, and that it would be my life.
Mm.
It's just like you are the creator, so take.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we're getting a little more personal now. If you could have lunch with any woman, past or present, who would it be and why?
I think it would be Julia Roberts. I
Really?
love her
Okay.
so much. I don't know her personally. I'm not like
You kind of look like her, by the way. Like,
nicest thing
right?
anyone's ever told me ever. Someone asked me if my life was a movie, who would be the star, and I was like Julia Roberts. But there is just like I don't I'm not up to date with like star drama or pop culture or anything like that, but I've never heard anybody say anything bad about her. There's so much authenticity that just radiates from her.
Mm,
Like
mm, mm,
I watched my best friend's wedding last night
mm,
and I was looking
mm,
at her and I was just like, "Oh my God." Like it's has nothing to do with how beautiful she is. It has everything to do with like how much she radiates. And I would just, obviously she's very successful in her industry and she seems super lovable. I would just love to be able to be in her energy, like personally
hmm
for a
Yeah,
moment.
she seems really authentic, and she hasn't done much to her face to make her look, super distorted. So yeah, very, very cool. I like that. So what's a book, a quote, or a mantra you decide that has profoundly impacted your life?
Hmm. Yeah, probably a book. I think I said this in the last one, but it's still actually the same book, which makes me question my, like, have I really evolved? Um, but it's still probably A Pocket Full of Money. It's this book on manifesting in general, but specifically it talks about money. But what I learned about manifestation in that book, like, it does talk a lot about quantum physics. You can, take what you can from that part, but like the whole book in general really generalized to all areas of my life. So I think that would still be my book.
Okay, amazing. Now, I know this is super cliche question, but I got to ask it because it is pretty powerful. But if you can give your younger self, and you can choose which younger self, some advice, what would it be?
Yeah, I see this with my son, and I hate even admitting this, but I'm here to be honest, and I think that that's the point. Uh,
Hmm.
a lot of my childhood was me showing up inauthentically, like actually lying to make people feel like so that I would feel cooler, or whether it was like an actual lie or just like not being comfortable enough with who I really was, because I was afraid that I wouldn't be liked or I wouldn't be accepted or I wouldn't be chosen. And I see my son do this and I'm just like, oh buddy, like yeah,
Mhm.
we're saving for therapy, not college at this point. But um yeah, it would be like the right people are going to choose you. But like
Mhm.
the thing, and this kind of goes back to anxious attachment, you can never actually be chosen if you're not being authentic. And so
Right.
in that moment with Alex, I had gone there and I pretended I wasn't worried about him going out that night. Like he's choosing an inauthentic version of me. So you may as well show up and be exactly who you are, because then you like
Yeah.
somebody can choose you exactly as you are.
Right, 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 right. And it's again that takes away that heaviness and just allows things to flow with ease, right? And that's what we want. We just want peace. We just want ease. We just want it to flow. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time, right? I actually, it's funny when I forgot to mention this when we were talking about relationships. I don't know if you know Bruce Lipton. He talks about the honeymoon stage for life, the honeymoon effect for life. And I'm like, it's doable. It's doable. And people are like, oh, Rita, you're such a hopeless romantic and stuff. I'm like, no, not really. Like, I think so. If you do the work and you don't get lazy and you're authentic and
Mm.
like you just work through things because you're authentic and it just becomes easier and easier every time you do. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful advice. And yeah, I hope your son takes it and maybe he's got to go through his own kind of
Yeah.
healing or journey and then realize that too. So sometimes we can't really stop everything from happening and therapy can't, actually prevent things from learning lessons, right? That we must go through. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's in good hands. You're doing amazing.
I always say, like, yeah, if you're a parent, you're gonna fuck up your kids. Like, that's a reality. That's Gabra Max, not mine. But like, the trauma that you imparted onto them is like actually their invitation and their blessing to heal. So I'm like, you're
Right.
welcome.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So, Jordana, what does success mean to you at this stage of your life and career?
Oh, it means
Mm,
like freedom. I think that that's probably a common answer, but and it means not just freedom financially, although like, let's call a spade here. You need money to be some like free in the world that we live in. But it's the freedom to be able to pick up my kids from school if I want to. It's the freedom to rest on a Tuesday afternoon. It's the freedom to record this podcast, like do whatever that I want to do. So that
Yeah.
is what success means.
Beautiful, beautiful. And has it changed? I'm just curious over the years, or was that always like the aim, the definition that you lived by?
It's definitely changed because so much of the first part of my career, which if you look at the whole wavelength of it, that would probably be the most successful part of my career. It would have been recognition. It would have been success is not fame, like not recognition in that way, but it's being recognized for what I have to offer. And that also kind of follows the thread of like my dad being like doctor, lawyer, or whatever. Like it's like as if I'm being recognized and I'm being seen, and I am like
Hmm.
an academic and I have the answers, like that is success.
Interesting. Yeah, I love that. And it'd be nice to see like closer to maybe retirement if we ever retire, really. I think I'm going to be doing this forever because I enjoy it. It's how that would also change, right? In terms of defining success. So what's next on your bucket list? Immediate and future, maybe 10 years from now. And you can choose if you want to talk more on a personal level or professional level.
Yeah. So, like I said, my business is going through a massive, massive transformation, but I finally feel like I'm on the other side. Basically, I will always work one on one and like in small groups with clients because that's really where my magic is. But all of, my mindful method program, my weight loss program, mindfully in love, like my mindful magnetism, mindful money, all of these programs and all of the hypnosis that I've ever created are going to live on an app that we have created and we are
Amazing.
about to launch. And I'm very, very excited about this because it's been like truly over a year in the making. So from a business perspective, it's really just getting that app off the ground and getting some of my methods a little bit more accessible to people because the price to be able to do the mindful method, like, and for me to coach, like it's just not accessible, and a lot of people need it. And so I wanted to be able to bring everything down to something reasonable that like the collective could gain access to. So professionally, it's like the app and then keep doing my thing. Personally, we are looking to move to somewhere warm and just perfect example of manifestation here. I've always wanted to, like, I've never wanted to be in Canada. And I was giving my boyfriend a massage the other night, and not the other night, this is like months ago. And we were talking about like, going somewhere warm, and he ends up getting this call from like a lawyer that he contacted like over a year ago about a green card for the States because he has like a very specific special job. And so do you see how I like manifested an opportunity to move to the States
Beautiful.
through the masculine energy, like the perfect example of the balance, right? So regardless of him, I'm confident that me and my family will live somewhere warm. We're looking at Florida.
Nice.
And yeah, for me, it really is just the 3-6 in my projector is about trial and error. And so I'm just like really trying to trial and error my life like constantly. Like I'm just like
Hmm.
evolving one step at a time. Like that's just how it's gonna go for me. So that's what's next.
Yeah, see what works. I love that. Yeah, I mean, that's why I moved to Dubai for 10 years. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do the winters. Yeah, and Florida's perfect because you can be there all year round. But I'm actually thinking of Mexico, and Mexico's like, you can't be there in like the rainy season's just too much. And then, of course, in the summer is too hot. So it's kind of, you still need that other, space place where you're going to go during. But that's exciting too, to be like 6 months somewhere and 6 months somewhere else. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm with you on that too. So we're going to go into some fun rapid fire questions. So whatever comes to mind, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
One word to describe you as a leader. I love it. You're closing your eyes like you're on on those shows. You're so cute.
Fully subconsciously, the word that came out was fun, but I want to say like transformational and alchemist, but fun is really what came out.
Yeah, I love that. If your leadership style were a dance move, what would it be?
Ooh, like hip swaying.
Yes. All right. It's like Shakira style, like
Yes.
belly dancing. Do you belly dance? You know how?
No, I'm
Oh,
terrible.
really? Okay. Yeah, we gotta go. It's so fun. Such a good workout. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person for sure.
Coffee, tea, or something else?
Coffee.
Mountains or oceans?
Ocean.
Sorry, what did you say?
Ocean.
Okay. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Yeah, me too. Okay, if you were a kitchen appliance, which one would you be and why?
I have to really think about this one. Oh, I'm going to be a stove because I said, the work that I do with women now is really like alchemizing, like bringing
Hmm.
from the darkness up to the light. And I think the stove is where we have that like transformational process, right? Like
Yes.
transforms into something delicious and yummy.
I love that. I love that. What's your oddly specific superpower? Like always finding, the best parking spot or picking the best, grocery line?
Hmm. I I have like actually a magical touch. Like it's for real. Half of the reason why my relationship is successful is because like we have deep conversations as my hands are on him. Like and not even in a sexy way. Like I'm like massaging or like touching his arm and so I think my superpower would be like there's something going on that comes out of my hands, but like I pretty much get whatever I want once I
Massage or touch. Okay, I like that. I'm going to try that. Thanks for the tip.
should.
And if you could instantly master one new skill, Jordana, just like that, what would it be?
Oh my God, it would be being better at like the paperworky, awful parts of business that I can I can hire somebody all I want, but at the end of the day, like I do also have to like keep my receipts and like watch my expenses. And I just hate, I can't like
Right.
even with you were like, fill out this form. I'm like, Rachel, do it. And then like all these questions that she couldn't answer, I had to do 1 minute before our call today. Like it's that stuff. Like, please help me.
That's awesome. Okay, so in closing, I don't know if you remember Oprah when she used to be like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, right? So if you could gift every woman listening one thing, tangible or not, what
Mm,
would it be?
a sense of true safety,
Hmm.
like true,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Because then we can really operate from our feminine energy and just like manifest anything like super limitless, right?
Mhm.
That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This has been so enlightening. I knew it was going to kick ass. Like it's just so beautiful. Your insights. I had no idea we were going to go where we went, which was so beautiful
Oh, good.
and very insightful. And I think so many golden nuggets that a lot of women can start really thinking about, hey, is this something that I need to be working on so that I can bring in that safety so I can, really feel that joy and that happiness again because we all deserve it. Like we really
Yeah.
truly, that's why we're on this earth is really to experience life in that way. So you've given us so many beautiful things to consider. Thank you for your vulnerability and sharing your beautiful journey. I can't wait to have you back on because you're definitely
Yay.
coming back on with this next phase and what you're doing. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the app. I mean, that's something that is like a super massive project. So this is great. Can't wait. And maybe we can put all of that in the show notes when that is all coming out and reshare it. So
Well, thank
thank you. I love you, sister. Thank you so much
you.
for your beautiful,
It was so
beautiful
nice to
energy.
meet you.
Thank you for joining us on Uplift Her Leadership Series, a special segment of the Self Care Goddess podcast. If this conversation lit something up in you, please share it with a fellow change maker and let's keep building a new model of leadership together. Follow me on ritasavoya.com and stay connected for more conversations that blend well-being, wisdom, and bold feminine leadership. Until next time, breathe mindfully, live intentionally, thrive gracefully, and remember, self-care is your superpower. Ciao for now.